Hello, my name is Silikuni or Hide and welcome back to my channel. I'm a creative being and a mess of an artist, and I take you along onto my art journey. In this video I will be drawing my Dadsona because I got inspired to do so. For context, a Dadsona is the character you are when you play Dream Daddy. This all started because since quite a long time, since months and years, I want to draw the Dream Daddy dads as chibis. But I never got to do that. Why? I struggle with chibis. So, on another page in my sketchbook, I started to practice chibis. And I used different styles and versions and different aspects of how one can draw a chibi. Then I looked at them and picked out the elements I personally liked. And like that, I puzzled together a chibi. So I created my own base for chibis and how I can personally draw chibis, and I'm very happy with that one. So I took that as a guideline, went to another spread in my sketchbook, and I started to draw basic poses with the basic features of the dads from Dream Daddy. And I'm so happy how they turned out that I can now use those sketches to draw them digitally. But due to that, I got pulled back into Dream Daddy and I'm now super excited about that game. So I have to talk about it. And also I'm super nostalgic. I love that game to bits. It's one of my 3 favorite games. And since I started with the dads from Dream Daddy on that spread, I wanted to keep the theme up and complete it with something else from Dream Daddy. And since I have the main characters, the only character that was missing is my own. So here I am drawing my Dadsona. This is not the first time I am drawing him, because I already once sketched him down in another sketchbook, but that is already quite some time ago, why I wanted to give him a little bit of an update. But now you may ask, what is Dream Daddy? Well, Dream Daddy is a dad dating simulator, and already its abbreviation is DADS, which already sets the tone of the kind of humor that game has. And yes, there are many dad puns within that game. It first released in 2017, and when it came out, I watched Markiplier play it, until I could play it myself in 2018 due to my partner who got the game for himself and has it on Steam. So I could steal it. And in this dating game, you move into a new neighborhood and meet 7 different dads. They are single, at least almost all of them are, and you go on dates with them until you find your own Dream Daddy. That's all. It's very silly, it's very simple, it's very on the nose. And how could you say no to that? Who doesn't want to have their own Dream Daddy? So at the start of this year, my boyfriend got the game and played through the intro and went on a date with Matt to then stop. Until I now got very excited over the last few days and pulled him back in, which has led to us sitting in voice chat in Discord in the evenings, and then him playing the game for me and streaming it while I work on my chibis and currently draw them digitally. And this has been a lot of fun so far. I love to see him play this game and how he reacts to the different elements of the game, especially since I completed the game already back then in 2018 and am very much updated. The only thing that I'm missing is the direction cut elements, and those are cute little side dates which add to the game and give some more story and depth to the characters, and it's just very silly. So with him playing it for me, I'm caught up pretty fast on that as well. Overall, it's just a very silly game, and if you're looking for something very cozy with some decision making and a lot of reading, I suggest Dream Daddy. It's very silly, it's very lighthearted, and it's very LGBTQ. And this is how we ended up here, because initially this video was not planned. I did not plan on making this video. And yet I started to record my process, and now I am recording the voiceover for the second time because I was super unhappy with the first time And whenever I don't have a script for videos, I just feel like I am rambling around a lot and I don't like that. So let's do this again. I first sketched down my Dadsona with some colored pencils, and then I moved on to use acrylic paint markers. Usually I use my Artex markers, but in this video I got some new markers which I wanted to test, and it's some markers I got from Action. They are rather cheap and they don't have a big variety in colors, which is sad. Then again, they paint pretty well, the colors are very juicy, I liked it. For the lighter colors you have to sometimes put on a second layer if you draw on a darker surface, but overall they're good. If they would have more colors, I would love them, but I bought them more out of impulse because they looked me in. Like, you have those cheap art supplies and they're not expensive at all, and then you're like, oh my god, maybe I should get them. So I got them to try them out. They're fine, but not a necessity. But yeah, usually I would use my Artex markers because I could fill so many sketchbooks with them. They are great. Yet mine are almost empty, why I have to be a bit careful with them and probably get some new ones. But at the moment I don't know if I want more Artex markers or a different brand of markers, because they recently used AI, which upsets me a bit. I think it's very sad to see that, especially since it's a brand that works with artists and create art supplies for artists to then go and use AI for marketing. It leaves a bad taste. But I like them, so I am conflicted and I don't know what I shall do because I really want my paint markers. On that note, AI sucks and AI is not art. You can say what you want, it's not. But since this video is about my Dadsona, let me talk more about my Dadsona. After all these videos about him. My Dadsona is partially a self-insert. He is heavily inspired by how I look already back then when I first sketched him. So there is me again, just drawing me as a dad, I guess. Back then when I sketched him down, he was 27 and he recently moved into the cul-de-sac. Why? Shortly before that he broke up with his partner and the father of his twins. He has 2 sons and at that moment they were 3 years old. And due to that it also wasn't an easy breakup, because Vincent tried as much as he could to keep that relationship running and do things for it, but it didn't work out and was very hurtful, so he had to break up with that guy and moved on. But it's also very scary, because if you have 2 children and then you have to suddenly break up and are standing there alone as a single dad, especially with 2 small children, that can be a lot. It's very overwhelming and scary, especially alone. But that's how he ended there in the neighborhood as a single dad. What a coincidence. The way I draw him right now, he is 33 years old and both his little monsters are 9 years old. Originally they were named Maurice and Xavier, but I'm at the moment not as happy with the names and I tend towards Maurice and Mortimer more. I somehow like the concept of having twins, especially like twin characters is a lot of fun to create and design, and I think both names starting with M is also very silly, so I might stick with that instead of Xavier. And when he first arrived in this new neighborhood, he was all alone, so he was a bit lost, and on the other side very happy when he met the other dads and them also being single. He had an easy time to exchange himself with the other dads and get help and advice, especially with the dads that have older children, because they already went through all that process and were a bit more experienced and also knew what would be waiting for Vincent. Especially Damien, Robert and Hugo are dads he went to when he needed anything, because all 3 of them have older children, like at least older than Maurice and Mortimer, and it's also probably the dads he vibed most with. Personally, Damien is my go-to dad since I started playing this game. He is my first choice and always has been. And that's why I also think that Vincent, if he would fall in love with one of the dads from the game, it would be Damien. They just have the same vibe. And since Vincent is like me, he's not goth, but he is darkly inclined. He loves a bunch of music that is part of the goth scene, and let's not talk about him having a Deepest Mode shirt, which he's wearing, and I'm absolutely jealous about it because that man has one and he probably saw them live, which I didn't. If you didn't know, Deepest Mode is my favorite band. Like, it's hard to keep favorites, but I think Deepest Mode is, and I just love their music and they just stimulate my brain in a very funny way. I love them. And Shake the Disease is my favorite song. Random information about me which I might not include. And also Damien taking out his date to a graveyard for a picnic. That's just the sweetest thing ever and super romantic. Like, I would vibe with that, and I think that's so precious, and I don't know. It's so special, because how often do you get asked out to the graveyard to have a date? Huh? Then again, Vincent is a self-insert, so of course he has to do something with art. He's also an artist, he likes to be creative, and that's something he shares with Damien. And probably also books. I rarely get to read books, but Vincent is probably the kind of man that in the evening in bed just reads books, since he is not as much into technology and all. So he would also have a little library of books. Art and books is also something Hugo likes, so I can imagine him to end up with Hugo to talk about books and shows and art and in general just knowledge, like to just have deep talks and probably have some cheese and some wine, although Vincent doesn't necessarily like wine, he would like drink something else, but just to have deep talks and be very cozy with each other. I think that's a very precious thought as well, and that's something Vincent would be into. Then why Robert? Because Robert is still a bit different than Hugo and Damien. I just think that man is so damn silly, and how he uses his sarcasm and comes up with the most unbelievable stories that you still don't know if they're true or not. It's just fantastic humor. I love it. And so of course Vincent would also vibe with that because it's just also so laid back. And on top of that, Robert can cook. Vincent loves to cook, so them just ending up cooking and eating would be so sweet. I can imagine for Vincent to just go to the supermarket and go get all the ingredients they need and then just end up at Robert's place. Maybe even bring children, but he would cook with him. And on that note, Vincent makes the best tiramisu. Fight me. He has the best tiramisu in the cul-de-sac, and no matter what, no matter where he goes, either it's an event or a party, he brings tiramisu, and for Christmas you get Biscoff tiramisu. Like, he is very proud of that tiramisu, about the dessert, and he serves it very well. In regard of all the other dads, he would get along with them mostly. There's Joseph, who he probably clashes sometimes. You of course know Joseph's bad ending because the game has been out since 7 years and we are all caught up, and you're not late on it because you would not miss out on such a fantastic game, right? So Vincent does not vibe with that. He does not vibe with Joseph doing that to man, and if he finds out, he will be very, like, he would distance himself a bit, but he would also be very spiteful with Joseph and play little pranks on him and annoy him a bit in a way that Joseph would not be able to directly call him out. Just Vincent being a bit mischievous here and there without causing big damage though. Unless Joseph would do that to one of his friends, then the cul-de-sac is too small and he will go kick Joseph's butt. Yeah, I think instead of being competitive with Brian, my dad is just poking Joseph all the time. And Brian is just a sweetheart. Like, Vincent just gets along with Brian a lot, and like, because Vincent is not competitive, he would not. He would be happy with another man that knows what he's doing and come up with great results. So like that, Vincent does not have to do it. And yeah, I think Vincent would also clash at times with the religious aspect of Joseph, if that is pushed too much into his face. As a dad, Vincent is a very loving father, sometimes a bit overwhelmed, but he tries his best. He also pushes the creativity of his children a lot since he's an artist, so he would implement a lot of drawing and crafting and actually also sitting down with his boys to be part of that process. He would also love to go out with them a lot, like especially to the woods and maybe just collect things, and whenever they find trinkets, yes, he's a little goblin, but he would like go out with them into the world and discover it. And of course, for such adventures, they need snacks. So he would also have snacks on himself, like fruit salads or sandwiches or baked cookies or other baked goods, like little things he prepared in the kitchen to then go out with them. Because it's very important that his boys have the energy to go to such adventures, but it is also very important that everything is balanced, because he likes to cook healthy, and for him it's very important that his sons also grow up with a lot of veggies and fruits. Since Vincent is heavily inspired by me, yes, he mostly wears only black. And yes, he is also the dad who would dress both his sons in a lot of black as well. Some parents only dress their children in blue and pink, and when I first came up with this, I wasn't even thinking of Joseph, because he's the kind of dad who does that. But if Joseph can do this, then Vincent can put his sons into black only. Of course, their clothes will still have cute little prints and patterns which would suit their age, but the base is black. And you have to think like that. This has many advantages. First of all, you don't see the stains as easily, and if you do laundry, you only have to do black laundry. And lastly, you don't need to worry that the clothes won't fit together, because most things are black. And that's very easy to puzzle things together, because I think elsewise Vincent's son would wear very weird combinations, because man is an artist, but don't give him clothes, he will not manage to puzzle together a proper outfit that is not very weird for your eyes and hurt. So we work with a very clean base, which is black. And that's also one of the things Vincent doesn't like. It's when he finds super cool clothes, but they don't come in black. They have such a cool print on them, but the base is not black. And another thing he doesn't like is if he loses his buttons. He likes to put buttons on all kind of bags, and sometimes they disappear, and that's very frustrating. Why you should always sew on your buttons. But Vincent sometimes forget. Another thing Vincent likes is D&D nights, and I can imagine he would manage to get a group of players together and then just have fun D&D nights. And that's also something I'm very jealous about, because you have no idea how hard it is to get people together into one room for some hours and be able to play. But he would, also because he has the space, and he would make snacks for that round. Oh my god, yes. I like that thought. You have no idea how much happiness it brings me right now. That's comfort. This game is comfort. But I think those are most Vincent facts, and maybe I can come up with more. Maybe I draw him more. I don't know. If you're interested in more knowledge about Vincent and such, and more art about Vincent, please let me know down in the comments, because that would actually help me. This is the old version of Vincent from back then. And this here is the new version. I like how it turned out. This here was now something very quick, also me testing out the paints and just trying to come up with something. Maybe if I would draw him again, he would look a bit different. Like I would make him a bit more unique, maybe less like me, but yeah, still very happy with how he turned out. I think it's a solid foundation to work with, and I'm very excited. I'm also very excited to see my boyfriend finish the game, and for me to finish my dad series. And maybe I will have a video with them, because I recorded my whole process. Maybe I will use it for GaidanCon, I don't know yet, but if you like this kind of content, please let me know. And if you wanna stick around, please consider to subscribe to my channel. In general, if you want to support me, you can also do so on my Ko-fi. If you want to commission me, you can shoot me a message either on Blue Sky or on Instagram. And for the rest, I hope you enjoyed this. Also, if you have any kind of feedback, please let me know down in the comments as well. And for the rest, I wish you a good day or night, wherever you are. Bye!